You speak your future into the world. You speak your future. Whatever you say, whatever falls off your tongue, when you say I am, right? The unconscious mind says, and you are so. Whatever comes on the other side of that. And so you asked me a hard question, which one is most important? It starts with the thought. I think the thought is that's where everything originates. And then you add a whole lot of turbo boost to it with your tongue.
Most people are not living their dreams because of fear, ladies and gentlemen. I was in Columbus, Ohio yesterday speaking for a particular Ohio department. Young lady named Karen who greeted me, who organized the event. Very talented, very skillful. And she was talking about she wanted to become involved in the consulting business. I said, why aren't you doing it? I said, you have the abilities. I said, you're not here because they like you. You're here because you're doing the job. You're making things happen. And she came up with all kind of ideas, but finally she said, I guess I can't see myself doing it. I guess I'm afraid. Fear, limited vision, and lack of self-esteem is what keep most people doing things they don't want to do. I flew from Columbus, Ohio to Denver, Colorado to a major communications company. And the person that picked me up at the airport told me about the fact that the company was planning on having a major downsizing. And they offered some of the employees there an early retirement, and some of them will earn as much as $300,000. And they said, this is the last time that you can take this offer. If you don't do it, when we have the downsizing, you might be among those who will lose their jobs, and all you will get is your severance pay. And only 50% of the people who were eligible to take the $300,000 took it. The others were afraid to take a chance on themselves. The others couldn't see themselves beyond that company. They couldn't see life after that company. The same reason that people stay in relationships where they're abused or they're unhappy or it's unfulfilling. They can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think that this is all that they can do. The same reason that people get stuck at a certain level in life. They can't see things being better for them. And they think that this is it and this is all they deserve. This is all they've ever seen. It's been passed on to them. And they think that this is it for them. Oh no.
Everybody experiences extreme stress at some point in their life. I don't care who we are. Something happens outside our control and it hits our life and it knocks us on our tail. It might be a health stress. It could be something with your family. It could be economic, career. It could be something emotional that happened, biochemical. There's so many things. It could be an environmental situation that had nothing to do with you. Every one of us in our lifetime are experiencing extreme stress. And these days, because of the economy and the way we respond to it, the majority of people are experiencing some form of extreme stress, at least according to polls. Stress doesn't come from the facts. Stress comes from the meaning that we give to facts. Yes, those things have happened, but the real question is, if we fight what's happened, we've got a problem. We've got to decide, what are we going to do with what's happened in our life? How are we going to take this? How are we going to mold this? How are we going to turn our life around? Because when you come up with a new meaning, you get a new life. We're going to take a look at something from a different perspective. We're going to ask you this question. What is the single force that controls the quality of your life? If there was one gift our Creator has given us, or the universe, whatever you believe, what is it? What is the one power that you have right now in this moment that can change everything? You have it, I have it, we all have it. This one singular individual power that can change anything in our life, regardless of what's happened to us. And I know you know the answer. The answer is the power of choice. The one thing we have in this world is we can't control the events, but we can choose what to focus on, we can choose what things mean, and we can choose what to do. Those three choices, those three decisions really control our life. It's not so much the conditions of our life that control our destiny as much as the decisions of our life. Try for a second to think about something. Think about your life. And just think about, are there a few decisions? If I were to ask you 2 decisions you've made in your life, you know, that if you would have made a different decision, you would have a totally different life. I mean, it may be a life may have been better or may have been worse, I don't know, but you would have a different life. I'm not asking you to buy into the fact that you should have known the answers. I just want you to see the power of a decision.
Do you want to go to college? I say, yes, ma'am, I'm going to college. She said, Inky, the chances of that happening, slim to none. Like, I'm not trying to crush your dreams, but I can't play with your future. It just doesn't happen. I said, just give me a shot. The first day I get to the school, I see why everybody said what they said. There was a cop at every single door and metal detectors. And I'm still hyped. My man starts searching me. His exact words were, "What's your plan, little man?" I said, "Oh man, I'm going D1, I'm going to college." He says to me, "You'll probably go to cell block D1. He said, "You had two uncles coming to the same place, great little ball players." He said, "Aren't they serving 13 and 40 years at the federal penitentiary, not even 10 minutes away from these front doors?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Exactly. Apple don't fall far from the tree." When I got my scholarship from Tennessee and got back to Crim High School, the first person I went to see was that cop in the lunchroom. He said, "How did you do it?" He said, "The reason I said it to you," he said, "don't get it twisted. You thought I was trying to break you. I wasn't." He said, "I seen so many kids step up to me and say the same thing. They end up dropping out their freshman year. And so I wanted to challenge you to see, would you retreat or would you step up to me and fight for the thing that you said you wanted?" I'm intrigued in life how when a person say they want something and the only thing it takes is for the circumstance to change. I'm intrigued by that. Right? How a circumstance can take that away. In life, people don't burn out because of what they do. People burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. When it's about something greater than themselves, the opposition, the adversity, and the challenges are part of the journey. That's why it's so easy to spot people that's just out for their personal gain, because all it takes is for something not to go the way that they thought it was going to go, and now they no longer want it. And so when I got to Tennessee, it was Mayberry for me. And I come into my junior year, and I'm about to get exactly what I want. I'm about to get this thing called NFL. This thing that I've been working for. Like everything revolved around this game, and I finally get in the position in my life to where now I'm 10 games away from it. NFL on top of the paper. Inky Johnson projected top 30, automatic multi-millionaire. Just play the next 10 football games, Ink. You made it. And I go out in a silly game against Air Force, and I go to make a tackle, and when I hit him, every breath in my body left. I fall to the ground, I blacked out. When my eyes open, guys run over, "Ink, let's rock, man, let's go, let's finish him off." And I'm like, I can't. They said, "What do you mean you can't?" I said, "I can't move. I said, I can't feel anything." Doctor says to me as he's walking beside me, "I don't know how you're still alive, son, you don't have any pulse." I'm sitting there and people coming into my room like, "Inky, man, I'm sorry about what happened to you." Like, "Man, that's really the only thing you wanted, huh? Like the only thing you really wanted was the NFL, that's it." I'm like, "Man, you limited God to that? Like life holds no substance, no value? And now the thing I placed my identity in, now it's gone." That's why I laugh at people when they say, "Man, if I could just get this, I'll be. Man, if I could just get this amount of money, I'll be." I'm like, ooh. What happens when God says yes and no? Like, do you have the ability to accept what you don't understand? Can you handle when things get off course? I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, man, I'm 8 games away. Like, let me get the contract, then redirect me so I can help my family. And God's like, "No, son, I need you to really go that way." And I'm like, "You sure? Like, I need to go this way." He's like, "No, I need you to go this way. I got something greater for you." Now, it might take a little longer to manifest, but I got something even sweeter. I got something, son, that's going to carry you for the rest of your life. And I thought it was over after football got redirected. My life got redirected 2, 3 more times before I even fell into my purpose and my mission. I'm thinking I'm going to be a coach. God's like, "No, you ain't." I'm like, "Well, maybe I'm supposed to go back to Atlanta and work in my neighborhood at the rec center." I get to Atlanta, I call the guy, he don't answer the phone. The only thing I had at that moment was a prayer and a book. And the prayer that I prayed was, "Lord, I don't know what you want me to do. But people keep coming to me, telling me, speak. Inky, you need to speak." And I'm like, "I'm not speaking." People coming, "Inky, you need to speak." I'm like, "No, man." And God brought me to the point where I had nothing, and I was on my knees. I said, "Lord, listen, I don't know if this is what you want me to do, but I submit, and let's rock." And the next morning I woke up, I had my book I had written, and I got up and I looked at my wife. I said, "I'm going to take this book to Oprah." "Do you know Oprah?" I'm like, "Nope." "You know anybody at Harpo Studio?" I'm like, "Nope." She said, "Go for it." And so I got my book, I got my suit, it's hot. Every door that opened, I ran in it. "Hey man, Inky Johnson, drove from Atlanta." They're like, "Get out of here." So after getting kicked out like 4 doors, I go to the back of the building. I sit down, I put my back on the building, look up to the sky, and I'm like, "God, thought it was you." And I get up and I walk around the side of the building. I look down the sidewalk, and at this moment, there was nobody but Oprah and the security guard. She said, "Hey, that's a nice suit." I said, "Thank you." I said, "I drove from Atlanta. I wanted to get you my book. So would you mind taking a picture?" We take a picture, and And I'm going to walk off, and her security says to me, "Hey, young man, come here." He said, "What just happened never happens." So I leave, I start to put the picture on social media, send it to my friends, everybody's reaction. "You gonna be on a book club? You gonna be on a show?" I'm like, what just happened? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I'm like, God, are we moving like that? Don't know nobody on Oprah's staff, and look at my wife and say, I'm going to meet Oprah. And God puts me face to face with Oprah and puts the book in her hand. I said, God, let's go. I live my life a certain type of way according to the power that I know the Lord possesses. I live my life a certain type. Like when I go to the Lord in prayer, I go bold. And I know the initial reaction when we go through things is to say, man, why did this have to happen to me? And it's an honest reaction. And some of the things we go through, I'm gonna just be real, it's not a scripture for it. But this is what I've understood. In life, some people don't need you to preach a sermon, they need you to live one.
Yeah. Following your dreams is a lonely, solitary, scary, dangerous pursuit. You can't wait for somebody to think you can do it. And it's like because they don't think you can do nothing they can't do.
Exactly, bingo.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like it's a lonely, scary, dangerous pursuit, and you got to be willing to risk everything to become that seed of what you believe is in there. You got to be fearless. You got to be relentless. Everybody has dreams, and as much as you want to be able to listen a little bit, because somebody's going to give you a gem, but nobody knows but you. You can't get advice on what you should do with your life, right? Nobody knows what you are. Like even sometimes you don't really even know what you are. You got to take your shot. And it's like, as much as you want people to agree and you want the people around you to be supporting your dreams and all, it's not going to be like that all the time. You got to do it alone. And people will help you, and when you get the ball rolling, people will jump on. But if you don't believe, nobody else is going to believe. People come along because your belief is so insane, that your belief is so strong that makes people be like, yo, this crazy. Grow or die was the basic central premise that we were working with. That if you don't grow, you will perish. There's one relationship that you have to maintain, and that's the one with you, right? And it's like, if you're not loving you, if you're not taking care of you, everything and everybody is second to you taking care of you. First and foremost, when you are steady and calm in yourself, it makes it easier to manage the insanity that other people are going to bring to you. The core of how things are created in the universe is through collision. You know, so you got to be prepared to collide if you want to create something. Only sustainable mission throughout your whole existence is to improve lives. And as soon as I made the shift in my mind from trying to be big and trying to have money and trying to be popular to making sure that I improved lives every step of the way on this earth, then all of a sudden I started experiencing healing.
You can't do that. No, you can't do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they just projecting, they're putting things that they don't believe that they can do on you. And you may possibly do it. Like my uncle, like he was telling me, like, my uncle said I never sell 1 million records. I sold 1 million records like 1 million times. You know, so he was, I'm his nephew. I don't think he meant any malice.
He wanted the best for you, but
he just was projecting his fears and things that, are you crazy? How are you going to do that? How? You know, I'm sure there's things I do now that he can't believe that I was able to accomplish. But he couldn't even see it at the time. So he was just projecting, putting his fears on me. So the whole thing is just, you know, and always believe you're great, even before anybody else believes it. You know, it's an extension of my family. It's like the things that I do. I tell my family all the time. I tell my grandmother, my mom, you know, they're proud. They're super proud and strong women, and they won't ask me for anything. And I say, man, you know, there are times where I don't want to get my picture taken, and I want to eat, and you know, paparazzi like take photos in your face and screaming at you and like taking pictures, and you can't take your kid to the park. And I'm like, those are the sort of things that give the reason why I'm okay with it, and why I can cope and live with these things without, you know, as much as a complaint. It's the things that it allows me to to do, the spaces it affords me, the rooms I'm allowed to go in as myself. It deals for the most part with success. It deals with people who you started your life off with and what success does to them. People look at you strange saying you changed, like you worked that hard to stay the same, like you're doing all this for a reason. And what happens most of the time, people change. People change around you because they start treating you different because of your success. So you are changing. You don't change who you are, the core of who you are, the things you believe, the things you love, and the things you die for, and your principles. You don't change that, but you're going to change who you are. You're going to change. You know, you can't do the same things that you can't hang on the corner. Some people may not be comfortable with that. And then it deals with the other side of success, how people look at you when you're successful. Media medals, people sue you, settle. Every step you take, they remind you get it. So no matter how far you are, you still have that stigma on you of where you come from when you walk inside the door. Even if you have a tuxedo on, it's like, oh yeah, that's the guy who used to be this and did that. Most kings get their head cut off, right? I mean, in war, battle, and in life. At the end of the day, you've achieved everything you want. You've made it to the top of the throne, and at the end of the day, you just get your head cut off. Do things that are true to you. You know, most things that I'm involved with are extension of being creative. You know, Rockaway is a clothing company. You know, it's part of who you are. And hip hop is your attitude and what you're trying to express, how you dress. You know, I love sports growing up. I grew up in a household where sports was on 24/7. So these are all things that are, you know, are comfortable for me. You know, these are things that I like. So I would just say get involved in things that you love, and also have a standard for yourself and have some sort of integrity and try to, you know, find some sort of truth in what you're doing.
I've got from teenage multimillionaires, 17, to the biggest transaction in the history of the world, $500 billion last year by one of my mentees. 500 billion with a B. A number of you have started a business at one time in your life. The first 50,000 or 100,000 euros in revenue when you start is geometric growth. So everybody that has ever started a business that generated any income, that's geometric growth, because it's starting from ground zero to the first 50, 100. Everybody with me? Okay. What happens? You stop playing to win and you start playing not to lose. When you decide that you really want to invoke permanent change, you start playing to win all the time. And nobody preaches that. They say keep 6 months of reserve in your bank account, right? In case you lose your job. That's a common bullshit. For the first 30 years of my life, I spent 125% of every penny that I made every year. I was always, as you would say, in debt instead of debt. I don't know why I call it debt, but in debt. Why? Because I didn't want any backup. I didn't want any plan B. I either succeeded or died financially. I stopped that when I turned 60. It's my lovely wife, who's a chartered accountant, international tax expert, coincidentally. We started getting rid of our assets and turning to cash, except for the castle. So we're all in cash. So I don't spend 125% of what I made since I'm 60. But from the time I was 20 to the time I was 60, I did. I've got from teenage multimillionaires, 17, on my side, to the biggest transaction in the history of the world, $500 billion last year by one of my mentees. 500 billion with a B, Neom.
What did he do?
He convinced the Saudi government and the Jordanian government and the Egyptian government, mostly Saudi, to put up $500 billion to build the new city of the future called Neom. It's all online, and he's the CEO, Dr. Klaus Kleinfeld. I've been his mentor since 1997, so I've got from teenage multimillionaires to the biggest deal on the planet, everything in between. I've got no education, I mean literally no education, to multiple PhDs, Oxford scholars, etc. And there's no rhyme or reason, there's no real rationale why a PhD from Oxford to a guy that got out of the third grade, out of school when he was 8 or 9 years old, there's none, except desire, sacrifice.
You have a lot of success stories. But
correct.
There are people who not succeed, mentees.
Oh, absolutely.
What's the average?
100% of the people that follow the 7 steps succeed. They may only make 100,000 euros or 100 million. 40% of the people drop out because they can't follow the steps. 40%.
So what do they do wrong?
They do wrong.
Common mistakes.
Well, most of them, and you know a couple of the guys,
I know.
they go from the castle to the bank and they take the money, except they're robbing the bank without a mask and without a gun. That's how easy it is to get money today. It's the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years, the lowest interest rates. So they go to the banks, and we show you how to get money from the bank in a legal way, just as you did, just as the other couple Dutch guys you and I both know. But then you don't do good things with it. I just had one of my superstars arrested 4 days ago for presumably taking $125 million in a bad way. That's a lot of money, $125 million. But we show you how to do it legally. Absolute, 100% if you follow the steps. But you can just kind of vary a little and not follow the steps, and you can,
And you slide.
Correct.
All the way.
Correct. But $125 million, I saw a few eyebrows. That's just one kid. He's 28 years old. $125 million. What were you doing at 28 years old? Other than having your Geneva covered thumb up your ass.
What's their secret? Why can they do it?
Because they want change. Not everybody that comes to seminars, Michael, wants change. It's like when I was growing up smoking dope and doing heroin, and well, I mean not you, in the 60s was what you did where I come from. That's it, because everybody else did it. So you did it. Well, now everybody, it's like sitting in the hall and, oh, the sun is great. Can I have another cappuccino, please? Well, you come to seminars, you're filling up the day. Most people, we've had people that I've met that, by the way, that 700 book kid came to this council seminar, and he's about to close his first deal. He might have been today or yesterday. He's 19 years old. He's 20 now. 20 years old. But they really want to evoke change. They, look in the mirror. Most of you don't like what they see. Not just because you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're bald, you're gray, whatever. It's because you know what you could have been.
What's the best advice? How to do it?
The best advice is find something you love. Find something that can change 1 billion lives. Zuckerberg is a classic example. He changed more than 1 billion lives.
And I came to speak to somebody today who has some triumph in your life, but you've also got some trouble. You've got some joy in your life, but you've also got some sadness. Until you have had the taste of finishing, you will not respect yourself. Until you follow through, until something is done, come hell or high water, tears and struggles and pain, and you go through it anyway, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances.
Courage is the key. Courage is the key. Confidence. It is never the promise of God that is in question. It is our confidence in that promise.
So why not reach down inside of you and come up with some more of those remarkable human gifts? They're there waiting to be discovered and employed. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. If you don't like how it is for you, change it. If it isn't enough, change it. If it doesn't suit you, change it. And I challenge you to do all that because you can change. See, you don't ever have to be the same after today, only by choice. Now for the process of change, just a philosophical pronouncement won't do. It takes more than that, and it takes more than enthusiasm. You can get all excited about lifting 200 pounds until you get to the gym. Then you need a new excitement, and the new excitement is discipline. Discipline, the major step to human progress. If there is one thing to get excited about, this is it. Get excited about your ability to make yourself do the necessary things to get a desired result. That's true excitement.
So remember, if you find yourself doing something that doesn't seem to be supporting you in the long term, remember at some level your brain thinks it's supporting you, at least in the short term. Don't feel bad about it. Don't go, oh gosh, here I am, this failure. Some of the most successful people that I've interviewed and worked with have had self-sabotage. It's just a pattern we once in a while get, and you can just change it now. It's very easy. You can free yourself from self-sabotage right now by knowing from this day forward that if you ever start to sabotage yourself, one, try another approach. Maybe it's you're just not paying attention. Maybe you're not focusing. Maybe you just got some poor habits. If it's just bad habits, refocus and decide what you do want to accomplish.
Really making personal changes calls for 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. Wishing we could change is a beginning. But now wish must be translated into activity. And inspiration and affirmation must lead to discipline. We can affirm that we are going to change, but we must now form new habits and develop new disciplines for the affirmation to come true. We can look at developing ourselves spiritually, physically, and mentally. With respect to our spiritual development, this may be a major or a minor issue for you depending on your values and your goals. Come to your own decisions as to what it will take to nourish your spiritual nature. Next, let's look at physical development. The body and the mind work together and depend on each other, so they both need attention. Treat your body like a temple. So just put it in your notes, body like temple. Not a bad suggestion. Now, in taking care of the physical, we must learn to be conscious of ourselves, but not self-conscious. We need to be aware of our physical appearance, our physical well-being, but not to the point of being self-conscious. But some people devote too much of their day to physical appearance. Physical appearance is going to have something to do with your future, your well-being, so do spend some time on physical appearance. How we appear to other people does make a difference in terms of our acceptance and our ability to function and do well in the marketplace.
If you do have a pattern, realize that any pattern you have, including self-sabotage, still comes back to one thing. Human beings, no matter what we're doing, including sabotaging ourselves, we do it for a positive intent. If it clearly is a pattern where you are subconsciously sabotaging yourself, screwing things up, hey, get excited. Don't get upset. Say, hey, look, my brain is doing what it does best.
Personal development, how important. Remember, the major key to your better future is you. That's a sentence with a lot of value. The major key to your better future is you. For a share of my life, I didn't understand the importance of that phrase. I used to wonder why two people could work for the same company and one make twice as much money. Wouldn't that be a puzzle? I know there are many ways to do well, but in this narrow area called compensation, what is the difference? I thought time makes some of the difference. Some people do better because they have more time. Now, that's got to be dumb, right? You can't get someone else's time. There isn't any more time. Where would you find any? Hey, when the clock strikes 12 midnight, that's about it. It's over. There isn't any more time. If you insist on finding more than 24 hours a day, they will come and take you away.
Identify a behavior that's keeping you from getting your goals, something that's stopping you or holding you back. Once you've identified it, ask yourself, what is the positive intent here? What is my brain trying to give me? Get some leverage on yourself so that you can make the change. Teach your brain that, hey, if I don't change this thing, you gotta have a little conversation in your head.
You see, what you become is far more important than what you get. However, it is also true that what you become directly influences what you get. Most of what we have attracted by the person we have become. So here's the great challenge of life. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That is the great focus of attention for life change. Now, on the other side of the coin, it reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you've got. I've discovered that income does not usually exceed personal development. Sometimes income takes a lucky jump, but unless you keep growing out where it is, it will usually come back where you are. Life has strange ways. A very rich man once said, if you took all the money in the world and divided it equally among everybody, it would soon all be back in the same pockets. I guess it is hard to keep what you haven't attracted by your own personal development. It's not what we can do that's in question. What we can do is fantastic. What we can do is unbelievable. What we can do, it's what we settle for that's disappointing. What we become is what leads to all the good things. And the habits we form, habits of mind, attitude, and behavior, are a dominant part of what we are becoming. Now, I understand as well as anyone that forming new habits doesn't come easy. But new habits will come when we change, but rather by changing small pieces and parts at a time. I think that's how most of us change. We just keep nudging ourselves in the right direction, forming one or two new habits at a time, little by little, until finally we've made the turn. And this is where the good life comes from, those personal changes. There's nothing you can do with the seasons, but there's everything you can do with yourself. Wish for your own attitude, strength, and capabilities to change in order to handle the winters. Time, we will probably use them all, unless somebody finally comes along and blows all those excuses apart to make us come face to face with the real reasons for our current dilemma. Until that time, we will probably use another million excuses to prevent ourselves from having $1 million. Here's one of the major questions I'll pose to you during this program. What are you going to do starting today that will make a difference in how your life works out? See, if you don't do something starting today that will make a difference, guess what? It's going to be the same. And you can guess what the next 5 years are going to be like. Just look at the last 5. Now here's another key question. What can you do starting today that will make a difference? That's a good question. What can you do? What can you do with economic chaos? What can you do with massive disappointment when it's all gone wrong? What can you do when it won't work, when you've run out of money, when you don't feel well, and it's all gone sour? What can you do? Well, let me give you the broad answer first. Here's what you can do. You can do the most remarkable things, no matter what happens. Hey, people can do incredible things, unbelievable things. A man can do the most amazing things with the most impossible circumstances. A woman can do the most remarkable things with the most disastrous circumstances. Hey, I found out kids can do remarkable things. That is, if they have remarkable things to do. I also found out if they don't have remarkable things to do, there's no telling what they'll do. For things to change for you, you've got to change, no matter what successes you've already achieved. Otherwise, it isn't going to change for you. I sure hope things will change. That seemed to be my only hope. If it wasn't going to change, I was in serious trouble. Then I found out it wasn't going to change, and I was in serious trouble. Hey, remember, it isn't going to change. Not long ago, I did a seminar for a group of oil company executives during their convention in Honolulu. Sitting around this conference table, one of them asked, "Mr. Rohn, you know some important people around the world. What do you think the next 10 years are going to be like?" I said, "Gentlemen, I do know the right people. I can tell you." So they all listened very carefully. I said, "Gentlemen, based on the people I know and from the best of my own experience, I've concluded that in the coming 10 years, it's going to be about like it's always been."
Need a little pick-me-up today? Welcome to the new Fresh Motivation app, where you'll find daily motivation, daily quotes. Listen to your favorite speeches in the background or with a black screen, so nothing interrupts your motivational moment, where you can create your personal profile, create playlists of your favorite speeches and quotes, add personal notes, and start setting goals. Fresh Motivation, the home of motivation. Get it now for free on Google Play.
You were not born to be defeated. You were not born to be depressed and discouraged permanently. You were not born to be destroyed by the things that come against your life, whether it's abuse, whether it's addiction. I'm not denying that temporarily things will seem to triumph and trample you. But I'm telling you that that is not your destiny and that is not your future, because you were born to win.
Our words are setting the direction for our lives. If you want to know what you're going to be like 5 years from now, listen to what you're saying about yourself. Well, I'll never get well. I'll never meet the right person. You are prophesying your future. You can't speak defeat and have victory. You can't speak lack and struggle and have abundance.
You can win without people. You can win without provision. You can even win without direction. But you cannot win without willpower. You need some willpower in your life. You need to get your will back. You need your drive back. You need your want-to back. You need your I'm gonna do it come hell or high water. I can't be stopped because my purpose is serious. Get your will back. Everybody shout, I will cross over. I will get over that memory. I will see a victory. I will be significant. I will.
You will eat the fruit of your words. Pay attention to what you're saying about yourself. your family, your finances, your health. You're going to become what you're continually saying. That's why it's so important to get in a habit of speaking victory over your life.
There's always more inside of you than you know. You're stronger than you think that you are. And the struggle of today is producing the strength I need tomorrow. If we want to grow stronger, we have to get comfortable with exposing our weakness. Because the reality of it is the only way that I can get strong is when I get comfortable in confronting my weakness, exposing my weakness, getting vulnerable with my weakness. Going into that workout that day, I was embarrassed, I was afraid, I was concerned. I didn't think I could do it, but I actually had to come in and face the weakness inside of me that I might encounter the strength that I have yet to discover. See, strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you thought that you couldn't do.
We're born to win. And in the end, even though momentarily it will look like the dream is finished, your life is not going to be anything worth celebrating. It'll look like a troop has trampled you, we would say, in the ground. But in the end, you'll triumph. In the end, you'll win.
I'm still scared, but it doesn't have to stop me. So what I'm saying is, not that I won't feel fear, not that I won't have questions, but I won't stop. I won't stop. I won't stop. That's what I won't do. I won't stop. I won't back down. I will not give in. I will not surrender. I will not give away my joy. It's too expensive. You can't have it. It's too valuable. It's the only treasure I've got.
Let everything you say be good and helpful so that your words will be an encouragement to those that hear them. One person that hears your words is you. They go out of your mouth and back into your own ears. If you hear them long enough, they'll take root in your spirit. You believe what you say about yourself more than what anyone else says. And there's nothing more powerful than you speaking victory over your own life.
Yes, you're going to face a lot of setbacks and a lot of hits, and I'm just telling you the truth. But let me let you know that it's not going to end with a troop trampling you down to the ground. There will be, at times, a severe struggle. But in the end, you will win. In the end, you will get back up. You were born to overcome. You were born to win.
It may not happen overnight, but you have to keep speaking victory. Keep calling yourself healthy. Keep declaring those dreams are coming to pass. Although a ship is large and driven by strong winds, it is steered by a small rudder wherever the pilot wants it to go. It's the same way with the tongue. Even though it's a small part of the body, it's steering your life. What you're saying is determining which direction you go. The good news is you have control over the rudder. You control your tongue. Are you sending your words out in the direction you want your life to go?
I think we all like to win. I'm not sure we all like the preparation that it takes to be a winner. John Wooden, my mentor, who was the incredible coach for the UCLA Bruins when they won 10 national championships, Sports Illustrated said he was the greatest coach of the last century. I asked him one day, I said, Coach, what do you miss most about coaching? And he said, the practices. Isn't it interesting? I said, not the games? He said, no. He said, our practice determined how we played the game. He said, by the time the game day came, I just sat there on the bench with my rolled up program in my hand and kind of laid back and let my team play. He said, we prepared for that game. We practiced for that game. He said, I miss the practices. I miss the process of doing what we needed to do so that we could get to where we needed to go.
If you believe in what you're doing, that's fuel. It adds more fuel to your fire. You gotta keep going, you gotta keep pushing through, you gotta keep persevering, because at the end of the day, when you do, and you do, and you do more, you will be amazed at how the universe conspires to help you get to the place that you wanted to get to. So believe in you, block out the shade, and let your sun shine on through, because it's on you to be you. Some of y'all are way too old to be acting brand new.
And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what an incredible formula for winning. What an incredible formula for success. Anybody can be good once in a while. You got to really practice if you want to win all the time. John Wooden knew that practice was the key to winning.
And that's the mindset that each and every one of you have to have when you're trying to do something. I don't care if it's friends, family, I don't care what it is, business, on your job. You have to believe you can get the promotion. You have to believe you can get the right soulmate. You have to believe that your job can go to another level. Your business can go to another level. Because you think you can't, but I'm telling you to your face, yes, you can too. You got the power to make them doubters and haters all now believe in you.
Tell me one thing in your life that is great that came as a result of being comfortable. Because everywhere I look and everywhere I see in today's society, everybody's doing everything they can to be more comfortable. They're looking for the more convenience. They're looking for the quicker. They're looking for the faster. And see, there's opportunity in that for those of you that want to get better. Because I'm going to tell you right now, all the reasons that these successful people that you look up to, that you aspire to be like, are the way they are, have all come from a place of being uncomfortable.
We do not retreat. We do not give up. We do not surrender. And the reason why most of you are not successful is because every single time stuff not going your way, you give up, you quit, you let go, and people feel weakness. They feel it. You can feel when somebody's not committed.
Understand that when you're trying to avoid the pain, when you're trying to avoid the struggle, when you're trying to avoid the hard things, you are actively choosing to be average. You are actively choosing to be mediocre. And you are actively choosing to move further away from what you want in life.
When they're not all in, when they're not dedicated, and there's another level you get to when you go all in. Look at your belief system every single day and stick with it. Don't rush the process, trust the process. Don't rush the process, trust the process.
You guys have got to believe in yourself. Headstrong, mentally tough. It's the only way through the bullshit here in life. Winners, the difference between them and the spectators is the winners have a belief that overrides the crowd's disbelief every single time. There is no excuse for not being the hardest worker. Yeah, someone might be bigger, stronger, faster, quicker, younger, whatever else, but there is no excuse to not be the hardest fucking worker there.
Because that hardship and that pain and that struggle, they give you the skills that will forge you into a motherfucking champion.
No longer are we going to accept rhymes and society's rhyme the reason that we are average. Average is a weak mentality. We must believe it so much so that we're arrogant about it. We must be sought for excellence.
The easy route never pays well. The only route in life that pays well is the hard route.
You working out, you want to die. Feel the death happening in you. Feel the pain happening in your legs as you rep out one more squat. Because it'll be all the more pleasurable when you reach the inevitable other end of the spectrum where you're laying in your hammock, sipping on a protein shake. Boy, I really went hard. I really went hard on that set. I really went hard in school. I really went hard in my career. I really went hard in life. Go hard!